What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I finally got around to filming one of my most highly requested videos of all time on Instagram. People always ask me how it is that I get these crazy eye drawings done on my eye, and today is your lucky day because I'm going to show you step by step on how I do it. Follow me on Instagram if you are not already. I will leave my social media handles down below in the description bar. I will also have all the products listed down there as well with links, so don't worry. So to start off, I already have my eyebrows done, and then for my eyeshadow primer, I usually love to use the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion in the shade Eden. And to set that, I'm gonna take my Tartelette in Bloom palette and use the shade Sweetheart, and I'm really just gonna swipe that all over the lid, building up the intensity with a fluffier brush, and I'm taking that color all the way up to the brow bone. This is where we're going to start carving out the shape of our drawing. This is like a rough draft, so you don't have to be super precise, but you just want to get a good general outline of where you're going to be placing color later on. So I usually like to use my Tarte Shape Tape in the color Fair because that's going to give me a lighter base so that my colors that I pack on top of it are going to stand out a little bit more. All the brushes that are used in this video are Morphe. Just a disclaimer, I am not sponsored, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. I'm using a Morphe 250-0 brush. This is a really tiny detailing brush, and I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape and just kind of do my general outline of the pie shape that I want. Now I'm also going to apologize in advance because I know that in the video I do have a tendency to get really close to my mirror. That's just kind of showing you guys like how close I actually am to my mirror when I am doing these looks, but I tried to stay in frame as much as I could. It's just some angles on your eye, it's amazing how close you have to be to actually really see the detail and, you know, get into different nooks and crannies and make sure lines are straight and all things like that. So I did try to stay as much in frame as I could, but my apologies if, you know, some of it you can't see very well. I'm going to work in sections here. I usually like to do this when I am creating these kinds of looks. I usually work in sections, that way, you know, things don't get too overwhelming and lines don't get lost in the sauce. But I'm pretty much just, you know, outlining the pie crust part of it, and then I'm gonna go in and fill in the colors of that shade, what I need to, just like really roughly, and then I will move on to the filling of the pie. So that's what you're seeing here. Next, I'm going to pick up my melt shadows. This is the color Blur, and this is the main color that I'm going to use to cover all of that concealer. That's just going to set everything down, and it's going to give me a good base color to work on and build shadows and build dimension. I'm going to take the color Rubbish also from Melt, and this is where I'm going to start filling in and shading a little bit. And then I switched over to my Morphe M212 brush because I wanted a little bit more precision. But once you get your shading down, you don't need to do everything right away. You just want to have enough contrast to where you can distinguish what is the background and what is the foreground. So once you have that all kind of worked out, then go ahead and do a rough draft. And I usually like to use liquid liners because I feel like I get a little bit more of a precise application than if I were to use something like a gel liner. But for now, I'm just gonna roughly outline everything and then keep shading. Next up, I'm going to grab the color Unseen from Melt, and this is going to further deepen up and shade in our pie. This is going to give it more of that freshly baked look, if you will. But you're going to see me shading in and kind of going over the lines that we just did with our liquid liner. Do not worry about that part because as I go on with the video, you're going to see that I'm going to redraw those lines and go over them, so they will get a little darker. And, you know, I usually go over my lines a few times until all of my lines are thick enough and, you know, look the way that I want them to. So don't worry about that too much. Here I'm going to pick up my Smashbox Cover Shop palette and pick up the red shade in there with my Morphe M213 brush, and I'm going to start working on the filling part of our pie, and I'm pretty much just putting that shadow into that open space that we left. And just to deepen up that pie a little bit, I'm grabbing the Enigma shadow from Melt, and I'm just going to fill in the outer edges a little bit just to give it a little bit more dimension. You don't have to worry too much about this because we're going to fill it in with our little cherries in a minute, but I just wanted to add that little touch beforehand. Moving on to our cherries, I'm going to grab the LA Girl Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Secret, which is just a red shade. And I'm going to mix a little bit of Jeffree Star's Drug Lord liquid lipstick. I do like using liquid lipsticks just because they tend to give me a longer wear time and give me cleaner lines than if I were to do something like this with a shadow. But I'm going to take my mixture on another M250-O brush, and I'm just carefully going to create individual circles within that filling part. We're going to highlight each cherry a little bit, and then we're going to outline. And you want to make sure that you're getting your circles as symmetrical as you can. I know it's kind of hard, like even for me, as close as I get to the mirror, I'm literally like 2 inches away from the mirror when I do stuff like this, but for the sake of the video, you know, I tried to stay in frame. But usually like my eyeball is like in the mirror so that I can really get a good sense of depth and, you know, how far things need to be apart and shape wise, and it's just, there's a lot of factors that play into this kind of stuff. But here you're going to see that I did go ahead and re-outline the entire pie, and you are going to want to do this periodically once you are done shading, just to re-intensify those lines. And then I'm going to go through and outline each individual cherry. Now here I just wanted to add a little pop to each of my cherries, and I'm taking a little bit of that Jeffree Star Drug Lord liquid lipstick and just highlighting. And then you're going to see that I'm going to go through and tap a little bit before that liquid lipstick dries. That's just to further blend and take away some of that intensity of the white, because it was a little bit too stark white for me when I did place it down, so I just wanted to bring that intensity of the whiteness down a little bit. So I went ahead and just did my foundation and concealer off camera. And if you guys are wondering if I do my whole face when I do these looks, honestly, no. I will only do foundation right around that eye area and forehead. Pretty much anything that's going to be pictured on camera. I know a lot of people have questions about that, so mystery solved. And then just filled in the very bottom part of that shape. Now I'm going to go through and outline once again. And you're going to notice that I'm only working on the very bottom part of the shape right now. That's just because that's where our crust is, and that's what I'm focusing on first. And here I am again, I'm using my Cover Shop palette, using that red color in there. I'm just kind of filling in that blank space. And I do get a little bit of fallout from time to time, but I try not to stress about it too much. I just grab my Morphe M134 brush and just kind of sweep anything that has fallen down onto my face, and that usually works. Now going back in with the Melt Enigma shadow, I'm gonna deepen up that pie filling. And now here I am just finishing up the cherries on the bottom half of our pie, and I'm using that concoction that we made earlier with the LA Girl and Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks. And then just going through once again and outlining everything. And now going back in and highlighting those cherries. And once you do highlight, if you feel like it's too strong even after you tap it out, you can go in and use a little bit more of that red color just to, you know, kind of shape the highlight the way you want it. That's what I'm doing in this clip right here. And then I'm gonna go through with my liquid liner and just kind of add those shapes that pies usually have right on top. Makes it look more homemade, if I say so myself. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tightline my upper waterline and add some mascara. And for the bottom waterline, what I like to do a lot in my looks is add a liquid lipstick in my waterline as well. Now just be mindful, if you are wearing contacts, this is not contact user friendly. I do obviously have contacts on in this video, but I don't recommend doing this when you do have contacts on, because there's been so many times that I have had liquid lipstick get stuck to my contact and it's just such a pain to get it off. Then you're just gonna want to add some mascara to your bottom lashes because you can't forget them. The lashes that I have on are the Ardell number 251s. And that is the entire look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe. And leave me a comment down below if you guys want to see more of these kinds of videos. But that's all I have to say for now. I love you guys and thanks for watching.